All right. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another quarantine car talk with your boy Jorge. JJ, good to see you, man. How's it going? Like always, today's just going to be a general talk. We'll actually talk a little bit about what's been going on with this car back here, and also kind of some of the future plans moving forward. So, if you want to get into all the discussions and all that, make sure you move up to about the 2 to 3 minute mark, and that's when we'll try to get more people start discussions then. But in the meantime, as you guys are coming in, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and go ahead and start commenting down below. Let me know that you guys are here so that we can go ahead and get a good discussion going. All right, I see one stock says, yep, this car is now pre-tuned for sure. Mayhem, how's it going, man? Good to see you. How you doing? How's that Challenger doing? All right, we got 6 people on. That is awesome. Again, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And right now, at about the 2-3 minute mark, we'll get right to it and start talking about the big change. And the biggest thing that happened, which I just dropped that video today, was the tuning of the 2019 Camaro. What's going on, Russ? How's it going, man? How's the E85 feeling? Eventually, you start getting used to it. And then that's when you want more and more. That's when you get the headers and everything else. What's going on, Lewis? How's it going, man? All right. Well, let's get going, man. So, first thing that I want to talk about is, of course, my latest video, and that is the one where I changed tuners. And so now the Camaro is tuned by Brett at Prey Performance. So that is right, guys. It is now, let me try to get a little bit more lighting here. So now the car is tuned by Brett over at Prey Performance, and it is night and day difference, guys. I got to say, you know, I knew there might be a difference, and everyone always talked about it. Everyone always mentioned and commented on the comments of the videos. Try a different tuner, try Prey, and the one that always came up was Prey Performance. So I decided to go ahead and switch over, and I couldn't be happier. The car, if you guys saw the video, make sure if you haven't, go check it out. But the car did a lot better, and I went through and tested both the quarter-mile runs between the Pat G tune and the Prey Performance tune, and also did a little testing on the 40 to 100. So, I mean, it is impressive what a difference a tune can make, especially when it's already, in my opinion, being tuned by someone that does really well with the GM platform in Pat G. If you guys saw the Mexico video where we went out and ran with Pat G's tune, I mean, we were out there beating up on quite a bit of cars, all different kinds of cars. We raced another similar setup car that went insane. That was the same setup, heads cam, tuned by 747 Garage, I believe. And the Pat G tune was able to kind of pull up about a car and kind of keep that distance. So they were pretty evenly matched between the Pat G tune and the 747 Garage tune. Now, I can't imagine with how that same race would go if I would have had the Prey tune, because with Prey's tuning, the car definitely moves out much, much stronger, especially off the line. Yep, you got it right, Lewis. That first gear, first to second to third, I mean, you guys can see in the video where it'll go up to 40 miles an hour, and then when it shifts, it basically jumps up to 60. I mean, the car is just pulling the whole way. It feels really good, real strong, and I'm excited to take this thing to the track. Hopefully we have some good weather. Last week the weather was really bad, so we weren't able to go to the track, but we are going to be going to the track hopefully this Friday to see what the difference it will run. Now, obviously, it's the reason I made the video today was because I wanted to show everybody true back-to-back comparisons, same day, same weather conditions, same everything, and didn't want to, you know, go put the Prey tune, go and have really bad weather and it go one way or the other, or have really good weather and you see so much of a big difference in the tunes, which is why I decided to do the back-to-back testing in the same day. And you guys saw the results. It's hard to argue with the results. Now, if only we can get it to hook from the launch, especially at the track when it's prepped, should be really, really good runs. So I'm hoping for some 10s out of the NA setup and hopefully some low 10s on the 100-shot of Nitrous. So fingers crossed there, guys. Troy Chambliss, do you think GPI would be as good as Prey? I don't have experience with GPI. I only have experience with Prey and Pat G, but I can tell you that Prey definitely, Brett over at Prey Performance has found something with all those tables and all the stuff that's available to tune and adjust in the LT1 tune for the computer, and he's got that thing dialed in right because both tunes actually run the exact same amount of timing. So there's obviously there's a bunch of other things that they got to adjust besides just the timing. Of course, AFR and everything is pretty close. They're both running between around 3.0 AFR NA. So it's very difficult to understand how Prey's tune can work so much better. But he has to figure something out with all the other tables, torque-based tables and all that stuff that is really helping the car take advantage of the power that it has compared to other tunes. So I'm not sure if GPI has done that or not, but I mean, after seeing the difference, guys, usually when you go from one tuner to another, sometimes the tunes can be different and be very much more aggressive, and that's where they add a lot more timing, or they run it really like hot. The AFR is really leaned out. They do all kinds of things, and yes, the car will perform better when the tune is much more aggressive. But from what I saw in the data logs, really they're both tunes are running pretty much the same target AFR, same target spark timing curve. The cars are running very much similar in those main aspects. So how Brett's able to get that much more out of a car beats me, but he does a really good job, and my hats are off to him. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that have commented that have switched over to him and have felt the same difference. And if you go on Facebook, you go online, pretty much every car that's out there performing and outperforming other cars way above their weight class are Prey Performance cars. So GPI, I know, does have some very fast cars as well, so they must be figuring something out as well. To answer your question, Troy, are they as good as Prey? I wouldn't be able to tell you. I haven't tried them, but they do have some very fast 6 gens, so maybe they've figured some stuff out as well. And if you guys saw, I'm adding also onto the wrap. I've got the Shield logo there, so it seems pretty good. It came out really great, and I did that all on my own. I actually stole my sister's little Cricut machine, whatever they call that thing, and used my leftover vinyl to cut out everything. Got some transfer paper, and I'm able to do that. So I'm going to be adding a few more things and touches, but I love the way it looks now. And Russ, yeah, man. So just like that with the Mustang world, I mean, Lund Racing seems to be the top of the line go-to people to go to. I know Palm Beach Dyno is another one. So I guess Palm Beach Dyno would be like GPI or Prey, and then Lund would be like GPI or Prey. So there's always, that couple handful of guys that really dive really deep in and try to understand everything on the certain car and certain engine to really get the most out of it. And you see that with the 5.0s, the Coyotes. Lund has definitely dove in and gotten all the testing, all the proven information ready to go. And on the other side, Prey does a lot of testing and has figured out a bunch of things as well. So that's how they're able to get where they are. They focus on one thing and one thing only. Now, that's whenever we look at kind of tuners and try to find out who should be the best to work with. You always look around and always try to see what's going on. Now, I worked with Pat G before I had the Camaro when I had the G8, and the G8 ran well, but it could have ran better. Now, the G8 had a bunch of other issues besides just the tuning. There was a lot of just mechanical issues that were above and beyond the tuning work, and I never wanted to push it as much as it should have. The combination on the G8 was just not the most ideal. I had a 6.0 motor. It was built, but with a massive supercharger, just wasn't going to help the car working right to get the best things. So that is why having the right combination means so much more than just who tunes it and what parts you throw at it. You can't just throw the biggest things at a car and hope that it's going to work. Needless to say, the car itself here, this one, the Camaro, I wanted a fairly large cam, as big as cam as I could on a stock stall. But by doing that, by making that choice of wanting the biggest cam that could still work with the stock stall, I wasn't maximizing the combination. Now, that is really evident in my 60-foot times, and I know with the Prey tune, I'm probably going to get a little bit better there, but to really see the best performance, I'm going to need to upgrade the stall on this thing if I want to keep this cam. Now, I could swap the cam out for something that's going to be more suited to this combination with the stock stall, or I can just get the stall that will match this cam and the rest of the stuff going on. Now, talking to Prey, I believe this cam itself, it's a great overall cam, will fit a lot of wide sections, but it's not optimized for this specific combination with the MSD. So who knows, maybe down the line, I'll end up switching cams and going with Prey to spec something out specifically for this combination. But for now, we're going to see what we can do with this cam and this setup. It's running great, runs well. And if it doesn't run as great or as good as some other cars, then of course, you know, I wouldn't blame Prey for it. I'm sure the car's going to run better, but if it doesn't run as good as some others do, then a lot of it has to do with just the part selection of what's in this car right now. And all that stuff can get changed and fixed and optimized later on down the road. Belova, brother, should I get a 2016 Z06 or Hellcat Red Eye or Nissan GTR? Ooh. Well, if your options are a Nissan GTR, a Hellcat Red Eye, or a Z06, personally, I wouldn't get the Z06. I would get either a Hellcat Red Eye or a GTR. And between those two, I think the Hellcat Red Eye would be my choice. I think that'd be a lot more fun. So the Hellcat Red Eye is going to be a lot more fun than a GTR. A GTR is a lot more expensive to really build up and get made really fast. Now, you can probably find a built GTR already for around the same price as a Hellcat Red Eye. But if you were going to build the car up and get all stock, the Hellcat Red Eye is going to probably be a little bit cheaper than a Nissan GTR. You can easily get those to 900 to 1,000 wheel horsepower and be running some really good mid 9-second passes. So I would go with the Hellcat Red Eye. Mayhem, you need a small team Mayhem decal. Hey man, maybe down the road we can get one of those. 19-1 Elite, just saw the new tuner video. Dude, the shifting on the Prey tune sounds 10 times better. The Petty tune sounds like it bucks hard every shift. Yeah, so one thing to note on that, guys, the tune from Pat G, the way that the shift scheduling set up, it actually still pulled back some timing in between a shift, which is why you felt that like little blip in like surging. Really, that's a lot of that has to do to try to kind of, I guess, preserve the transmission and not be as harsh on the transmission. Whereas the Prey tune is, if you look at the timing curve, the timing graph across the full pull, it is dead straight, never deviates. And so the AFR is always on target. And you know, with the 6-speeds, the older generation, the older 6-speed, you know, the LS transmissions, the 4-speed, the 6-speeds, you really needed to pull back a little bit of timing. If not, you could easily just burn through your transmission because of just how long it took to shift. But with these cars, with the 8-speed and the 10-speed transmissions and how fast they shift, it really, I mean, you can just, keeping the timing and the power there does not really affect the transmissions as much as something like keeping the full power on during basically power shifting through a 6-speed or a 4-speed transmission from the old LS Gen 4, Gen 3 days. So praise tune, completely flat curve, and I'm sure there's some other things besides the timing that gets adjusted to help the transmission shift smoother. But yes, you're right. The transmission shifts much smoother, a lot quicker with praise tune, and it feels and it sounds better because it doesn't cut the timing down to get that shift in. Guys, I've got the Nitrous set up, and we are going to do a little bit more testing with the Nitrous. So we're going to be right now we're going on 4 degrees, and the spark looks really good. Everything looks great, and I could probably take that and just pull 3 degrees, maybe even 2. Talking to Brett, seems like because we're running the C16, we could maybe get away with pulling just 2 degrees with the 100 shot. But we're going to kind of do some testing. I'll probably pull back and start at 3 degrees. I know what 4 degrees will do. I'll do 3 degrees, check the plugs, and see where we're at there, and maybe go to 2. But I probably will just keep it at 3 degrees just to be on the safe side and have a little extra power of that 1 degree. And I don't need that much more power. If I want more power, I'll just put the bigger jets. So I'm excited, looking forward to how the car is going to run with the Nitrous. One LE says the time difference was insane too on the Dragon. I got to get that Prey remote too. Yeah, man. The car, I mean, picked up 2/10 and pretty much about 2 miles per hour between the 2 tunes. And that was with me kind of easing into it. I tried a couple times to just floor it with the Prey tune, and the car would just spin all of first, and it would shift and spin pretty much most of second. So I really had to try to just ease into it. And of course, I didn't really have that issue with Pat G's tune. It would just kind of spin slightly, like the first part of the first gear, but then hook right away. So that in itself tells you that the car is making a lot more power, putting down a lot more power through the lower end. So should really translate well to the track times. And even better, guys, the 40 to 60 mile was the most impressive, I gotta say. Picking up 4/10 of a second from 40 to 100 miles an hour was by far, that basically is almost like picking up the same amount as when I was spraying a 50 shot on top with the Pat G2. So it was basically almost feels like I added 50 horsepower with just a tune, which is pretty insane. Hey, George from Chicago, I was in 40 videos. I have a 16, love it. Yeah, man, appreciate it. Much love. Shout out to Chicago. Yeah, man, it's awesome. These cars are awesome, and if you can get a good tuner or to get everything dialed in right, even better. Kanan Medina, do you plan on doing any weight reduction? Hey, man, how's it going? So the only type of weight reduction I've ever done is just pull the passenger seat and the back seats out. And of course, I've got the drag pack on it. But that's about it. The last time I went to the track, I did not pull the seats or anything like that. So I'm probably going to not do that this time around, and just to see what it'll do. Now, who knows? Maybe I might pull it just because it seems like that's the minimum everyone does is pull the seats in the back seat. And I've done that before at the track, and it's good for about a 10th or so. So I'll probably do that and, try it out, see how that works. But yeah, besides the passenger seat and the back seat removal, not really much else that I'm doing that I can do to it. I've looked at like carbon fiber stuff, like carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber trunk, the fenders and stuff, but that's you're looking at almost $6,000 when you do the hood, fenders, doors, and the trunk. For I don't know how much you're gonna save, maybe 100 pounds or so. So yeah, we'll see. Now, Kanan, your brother's the one that's got the Heads and Cam 747 car that we ran. So I was hoping we would be able to get it to run it with the Pat G tune again, but I've got it tuned by Prey now, so it'd be interesting to see. I think unless you guys have done much now, maybe without a passenger, it might even up with how this car is running now, with the new power, I guess you could say. Yeah, I think they'd be pretty even, pretty good run still. Hey, we got 16 people on. That's awesome. By the way, what are you guys' thoughts on the Shield logo on the car? I've had some people comment saying that they actually think the car is better plain white and black the way I had it before the wrap, and I've got a lot of people that say that they love it. It'd be cool to see what you guys' thoughts on. Now, my question is, you know, does it look? It obviously looks least Shield badge, but it's got two pistons that look pretty obvious they're pistons. So I'm hoping I don't get any you know, nuisance from police officers thinking I'm trying to impersonate a police officer or something. You know, but we'll see. Anyways, how's everyone doing, and what is it you guys got going on with your cars? Yeah, Russ, that's kind of how I feel, man. I really want to promote the channel, promote everything. So should be good. Hey, Kanan, appreciate it, man. And yeah, we'll definitely have to set something up. And I've been really wanting to go out more, but I'm not a big meet guy. I'm not a big fan of going to Mexico with like 100 people. So that's really not my thing. I'd much rather just, you know, get a couple, 3-4 cars together and, you know, be a lot smaller group. So we'll definitely be trying to set those up a lot more here in the next few months as we kind of get into the meat of the racing season. Of course, the heat of the summer is going to really help us NA cars have some fun with some boosted cars. So I'm excited about that. You know, it should be fun. Louis Blanco's Shield logo looks good. The wrap looks good also. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you. I'm definitely liking the way the car is. It'll definitely stand out for sure, like Russ was saying. Anthony, yes, I did the whole wrap myself. It wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Just very, very time consuming, making sure everything's right. And luckily, I didn't have to redo any parts, but that would have sucked. Hey, David, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you. I think it came out great. I mean, I was quoted by a couple different people about $800 to $900 to do something like this because of the design. It requires a little bit more work. And, you know, I decided to buy the material myself, spent about $400 in the material, and got it done. I have a bunch of leftover gloss black, so I can always redo it or redo something else. You thought about wrapping the driver's side mirror? Yes, I have. I have thought about it, but it's actually a very complex mirror, and to be honest, I'm a little intimidated. And I think the way it sits now, it actually doesn't look too bad. So I think I'm gonna just leave them white for now. Do you have any advice? Want to wrap my 18 SS2? So watch a lot of YouTube videos and have somebody else there to help you kind of lay things down. I didn't have anybody. I had people coming in and out and helping me in between. So trying to do it by myself was a little bit more difficult. But if you have somebody that can kind of help you lay things down and get it all dialed in, then it's not too bad. And just split it up into sections, and you'll be good to go. How much does it cost to get remote tuned using HP tuners like credits and a little bit less? You gotta buy it. All right, 19.1 at least. So the base to start a remote tune, you're going to need the bare essentials, which is of course your own MPVI2 HP tuners device, and that'll retail around $250 without any credits. So that is the most base thing, is the MPV tuner device, which is what you plug into your OBD2 and plugs into your laptop to go back and read the tune and be able to flash the new tunes that you get through remote tuning, and also do data logs. So that's $250. You also, most tuners, most really good tuners, will want you to get a wideband gauge that you can integrate into the data log. And the most easiest way to do that is with the AEM X Series OBD2 wideband gauge, which basically comes with a T, an OBD2 plug T, so that it plugs into your car's OBD2 and has the pass-through to plug in your HPV tuner. And then your HP tuner's data log will actually the information from that when you go to connect and pull all the new devices that are on the car for parameters. So that is about $220. So just in the gauge and the device to tune and read and remote tune, you're looking at $500. And then you're going to need the credits. Now, for the automatic guys, you of course have the transmission control module that you can tune as well. For manual, you guys don't need to worry about that, but you'll need 4 credits for the computer tune, and then you'll need 4 credits for the transmission tune. And if you have a 17 and up, you're going to need to actually send in your transmission computer to HP Tuners to get a hardware unlock, which is $200. And so you're at 8 credits. You're at $700 just in physical hardware stuff, and 8 credits for the engine and the transmission if you have an automatic. And then on top of that, you also need to tune the CCM module if you want to get the full midsection and remove the AFM motors. You don't have to. That module actually is pretty cool because it'll actually is the one that has all the tables to control your dual mode exhaust motor valves, so you can actually control them kind of the way Pat G had it set up to be always closed in touring, open and closed in sport, and completely open in track. That's what that third module can do. And if you have a 17 and up, I believe it's 3 credits for that. So a total of 11 credits for 17 and up, and I believe it's only 1 credit for the 2016 years. So 9 credits for that. And each credit is $50. So you're looking at about $500 in credits, give or take. So when it's all said and done, you're looking at about right around $1,000 in the hardware stuff and the credits. And then on top of that, you'll have to pay your tuner. Most tuners' fees seems to have settled around $600. So to do a remote tune is not the cheapest, but it does give you the full benefit and full access to some people that you otherwise wouldn't be able to have access to. And having the wideband information is basically the same as them having the car on the dyno, to be honest. So there's really nothing to be lost there. So long answer, but yes, there you go, the 19. A. Louise says, got a 19 that says, want to build like yours, but no luck getting that Rotofab Cali. Yeah, man, that's the tough part. Typically, you probably have to look at either buying used from secondhand market or getting on the forums, the Camaro 6 forums, or things like that to try to get one. Fast Life Russ says, I have MSD and KTech 103 on the way. Can't wait to get everything installed with the headers. Dude, that's awesome, Russ. Man, dude, the MSD really does help that power band stay high, especially in the higher end of the RPM range. You're really going to love it. And that KTech 103 is pretty good. That's going to be nice and big to really let any air go right through. So that's awesome, man. Once you do the headers and get that flow path better, it's going to run. It's going to really run. Bryce, what's going on, man? Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Andrew Rourke, welcome. Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks. And yes, to really get the maximum potential out of this car with the cam that it has, I'm gonna need a stall for those times at the track. But at least out on the streets, I mean, this thing is gonna be rolling. So with the remote tune, can you upload it and remove it at will? Basically, yeah. With the remote tune, you load it up, and because you have your own device to load and and read the tunes. You're able to load up the tune, and if you ever get a new part or new hardware that you change up the setup, you can put it on, do a data log, or get a new tune and load that up without having to go back to a dyno or things like that. Now, as far as removing it, why you would want to remove it, I'm not sure, but I guess you could. If you're trying to remove it to put it back to stock for going to the dealership, I think now these things have like a flash counter, so it wouldn't even, like, the dealership would be able to tell that the car was flashed or tuned, even with the stock tune. Hit up Dalton Hill on the group face so we can get you anything to Cali for retail price. No God. There you go. That's awesome. Appreciate 19-1 Elite trying to help out another one of the supporters here. Thanks a lot, man. That is correct, 19. So you wouldn't have to worry about the $200 fee to take the TCM ship to do the hardware unlock, and you wouldn't have to worry about the 4 credits for the TCM tuning. You would only have the 4 credits, and if you needed to, if you had dual mode exhaust and you wanted to be able to tune and fuck with the dual mode exhaust stuff, then you would get the CCM tune. It's not needed if you do have a full exhaust and you have the FM valve motors. A lot of people, what they do is remove the motors from the exhaust and then plug them back up and zip time out of the way from everything so that you don't throw the check engine light that way. So it goes just 2 different ways of going about it. I went ahead and did the CCM just because I said I wanted to go ahead and do the dual mode exhaust option to change and open and close whichever way I wanted. So it worked for me. But if you don't have dual mode exhaust, or you don't care much for how the dual mode exhaust works, or messing with that, then you could save a lot of money by just removing the AFM valves and plugging them back up and zip tying them out of the way. Nami says, I have a full bolt-on cammed SS with the TCM, was never touched. Am I leaving a lot on the table? Is yours a 10-speed or an 8-speed? If you've got the 10-speed, you're depending on how the car is tuned, the only thing you're gonna really leave on the table is maybe some shift points adjustment. And if you've got something like a high ram, or if you've got a MSD intake, which can actually utilize a little bit higher RPM, then yes, you're leaving a lot on the table. Now, if you have the 8-speed, which I just saw that you do, then you're definitely leaving a lot on the table, because there's a lot more tables that can be adjusted on the 8-speed compared to the 10-speed. The 10-speed is very limited still on what they can and cannot tune for some reason. You know, the Mustang's 10-speed is able to go from, like, you know, just normal 10-speed to chirping every single gear and just launching with tuning, where these 10-speeds on the GM cars, which are practically the same, have a lot more things locked in and don't have as many things open. But with the 8-speed, there's a lot more things that can be adjusted, and definitely you're leaving quite a bit on the table if you don't have the 8-speed tune, because with the tuning on that 8-speed, it is going to be a night and day difference. And again, like I mentioned, if you have an MSD or a high ram, then you're going to want to utilize that higher RPM range to take advantage of the power that the MSD and the high ram can kind of keep up in the higher RPM range. Adding parts after having the tune, does data logging let you retune with new parts, or do you need to get a different tune from the tuner? So if you're adding parts after having the car tuned, the data logging, all it's going to do is basically give the tuner a file that he can go back and see how different the car is behaving with the AFR, the air-fuel ratios, and all that based on the new parts. So you still need to send that new data log over to your tuner, and then your tuner can use that data log and the information from the log to go ahead and recalibrate the tables or whatever needs to be recalibrated for the air and fuel mixture to make sure that the car is running perfectly better now that you have the new parts in. So you still have to go through your tuner, but most tuners will give you free retunes, or as long as you're doing small parts, things like that. Now, if you're going to go from, you know, bolt-ons and you're going to add a cam and, you know, a stall or things like that, then they might charge you $100 or a couple $100 or $100 for the retune. If you're going to do a blower, go boost versus an that big of a jump than where they have to do a lot of wholesale changes on tune. They might charge you a little bit for that, but for small changes here and there, for going from cold air intake to now headers and actually bigger manifold intake or something, most tuners won't charge you for that. Let's see, stock converter camshaft that Texas Speed offers. If it's worth it, I'm trying to keep the drivability good in case the lady needs to use the car from time to time. I have not really heard. I've not heard much about that. Don't really have too much experience with the different Texas Speed cams, but if it's designed to work with the stock converter, then I'm sure it's going to be very, very good. It's got a nice torquey curve down low and give you quite a bit of power jump down low, while still having just a little bit more power on the top end. You're not gonna have, and that's kind of the way the cams work. If you get like a smaller cam, really a lot of the smaller cams, what they do is they give you a little bit more power and torque down in the middle to lower section of the RPM curve, and then in the top end, they tend to kind of die out, give you just a little bit of power, but really kind of follow the same as a stock cam does. And when you go with bigger cams, let's say stage 2, stage 3, stage 4s, all that's doing is basically giving you a lot more power in the upper RPM range. And so usually those cars have a bigger mid to higher RPM range, but lack down low, drivability down low. So that's why most of those require a converter. The bigger cams require a converter because the power, you're not going to really start seeing the big power difference until you're in the middle, higher RPM range. So if it's designed to work with a stock converter and you're going to keep, the stock converter, then I'm sure that's probably going to be a really good cam, and you'll have a bunch of good feelings and feel good off the line, a lot of power down low, and really work well. Will you get Prey spec cam now? So for now, we're going to see how this setup works, and we'll just kind of take it from there. Now that I've done I've had the cam installed. It works well. The car runs well, and we'll definitely be talking with Prey back and forth, looking at how the car is running, how it's performing, and go from there. Now, I don't want to really get a stall, but I probably will have to. And when we get to that point, when I do decide to get the stall, then maybe at that point I'll go ahead and get a new cam spec'd out for that specific stall from Prey. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep it how it is. Probably won't be changing the cam out till maybe after the summer or something like that. But that's when I'll get the stall, and I'll go with a specifically spec cam by Prey to really bump this up a little bit more. Anybody else got other questions or any other things? Got a few more minutes here. So probably give it another, go to about 9:45. Let's see, Bully Blanco says, have you heard anything about the 6th gen Camaros being tuned by Flacco? No, man, I have not actually. I didn't know he was tuning 6th gen Camaros. I know most of his stuff seems to be truck related or LS based, kind of, so I have not heard about him in his tunes. So you plan on going to the track with the new tune? Yep, I'm going to be there this Friday. If the weather's good, I will be at the track this Friday with the new tune, and we'll see how the car does. DA is going to be shitty, probably going to be in the 2000s or plus, but I'm excited. Should be running really good. I'll probably do the same thing I did last time, where I'll do an NA pass and then I'll do a 100-shot pass, and we'll see how the car reacts. I'm hoping the track gets prepped pretty well, and if I'm having spinning issues, then I'll have to kind of maybe progress in the 100-shot, but we'll see. Junior 50 says, what's the good price for a 16-17 Camaro? I think a good 16, 17 Camaro could be had for around 25,000, give or take, depending if you're going with the automatic or a manual. I know there's one right now here in the Houston area, in the Galveston area. It's like a Nardo gray wrapped manual 2016 that's being sold for 23. So yeah, I'd say 25K is probably good, a good number for a good price, give or take a few depending on the miles. And Armando, yes, I will be going to Baytown. I'm not a big 8th mile racer. I think that's too short of a run. I like the quarter mile, so I'm always going to Baytown. I really don't go to HRP or HMP or something like that, whatever it's called. Appreciate it, man. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna do some more testing on the street with the Nitrous and see what we need to do. Send over some logs or whatever. But everything should be good. We've already dialed in the jets and everything for the right air fuel mixture. So it's just a matter of just seeing how the car handles, how the car hits the nitrous, and make sure it doesn't spin. But we'll do a few test hits, make sure everything's still ironed out, still dialed in, and maybe try pulling a degree and seeing how it feels on the street to see how it works on out of the track. All right, guys. Well, if there's not any more questions, then that is going to be it for me today. Had a great time talking to you guys. Let's see, Lewis, just man, I don't want to get the flag for this, but what does DA do, or what does it affect? I'm going to so try to visit off to nearest one star. Okay, don't worry about it, Lewis. A lot of people don't really understand what DA is. And I don't fully understand it, but basically DA is called density altitude, and it's a way that they measure the air and the water in the air. So basically, if you were at sea level and you had no water in the air, it was very dry, you'd be at 0 feet or 0 DA. And basically, the less water, the drier the air, and the lower elevation you are, the better the car's going to perform, the more oxygen that's available in the air. When you fill it up with water and put a lot of water and humidity, that humidity basically takes up the space of the air. So as you're sucking the air in, there's a lot more humidity and stuff in there and not as much oxygen. So drier, colder weather means that you're going to have a lot denser packed air that is not as humid, and therefore you're going to have a lot more air, which means the car is going to have a lot more oxygen to burn. And so when they say DA, when you get a positive DA, the farther away from 0, the worse the car is going to perform. So a car with the exact same mods, the exact same everything on one day can go and run a 11.5 at 120 miles an hour in 2,000 DA. 2,000 feet of DA, density altitude. Then the next day, it brings a cold front in, the weather goes down, and you're at 0 DA. That same exact setup, same everything, that car will actually run probably an 11.3 at 123 miles an hour. Just because of the fact that the air is a lot cooler, a lot denser, and is not as humid, so there's a lot more oxygen to be burned in the cylinder. And then if you get into your negative DA, then man, that's whenever you basically are compacting the air. And so that 11.5 at 120 car at 2,000 DA will go and run an 11.2 or 11.1 at 125 miles an hour, 124 miles an hour in negative like 1,000 or negative 2,000 DA. And it's a lot more crucial for supercharged engines that are trying to compress and compact air in there. So you see that being a big difference there. But that's basically what DA does and how it affects your cars. In California, I'm not sure what the average DAs are out there. Obviously depends on location. But here in Houston, typically we'll range in the summer about 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 feet. And then in the fall, we can get down into the 500s to zeros. And then the winter comes and the cold fronts come in. Then we're usually seeing negative 1,500 to a negative 1,000. Which really helps kind of the cars run their best times. This car ran an 130. 10.8 at 131 miles an hour with Pat G's tune. But then, and that was in like negative 1,000 DA. But then came and ran 11.3 at 128 miles an hour with the pretty much same tune. So that's the difference between negative 1,000 DA and 2,500 DA. Nah, man, appreciate it. I'll always try to give everyone the most data-filled, informational as I can and as unbiased as I can. I really am not a big fan of just saying or promoting something or saying this works or that works without really trying to do some testing and showing you guys the data. So look forward to showing you what's going on, Flying Tarpoon. Yes, the hype is definitely real with Praise Tune. He definitely understands how to manipulate the tables and do what he's got to do to get those really working well. I appreciate it. Awesome, man. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully I can see you, Armando. YC7 with the cam and some meth. Woo. I saw a red car, which I don't know if he was cam, but he was running some good times. He was like a 10.4 car out there in a C7Z, so should be rolling. Anyways, hope everyone is staying safe and hope everybody is doing well. Always take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will probably be the track video when we finally get it. So I'll probably post that Saturday maybe, and we'll see how it goes, unless I go out to Mexico during the week sometime, but we'll see. Hey, what's going on, Andrew? Man, Florida 2K. I'm out in Houston and Texas, so I don't know if I'll be able to make that. But if you guys are ever in the Houston area, just hit me up and we can definitely meet up. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a good one. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.